The movie starts with a little boy in a car with his parents. Then, another car pulls out of the way, and his father loses control. They drive their car into the barrier and off the bridge into the river. Years later, the now grown boy wakes up in panic from another nightmare about that terrible accident. After getting dressed, he goes back to bed. While lying there, his phone rings. His mother comes in and says that his friend Va is calling, but he doesn't want to talk. Understanding her son's hesitation, she reminds him that they're going hiking in the mountains and that another chance to see the solar eclipse won't come for a long time. Knowing that her son is afraid of heights, she manages to convince him to go on the hike. In another century, a shaman is conducting a ritual to the old spirits to find a strong stone to bring the world to its knees. In the present, Vikia and his classmates go on their hike through the forest and mountains. Finally, the group arrives at a suspension bridge. The teacher tells the children how to cross it carefully and they begin crossing it one at a time. When it's Vikia's turn, he is extremely nervous and anxious. His friend tries to cheer him up, but it doesn't seem to work. Gritting his teeth, Vikia takes a few steps forward but looks down, causing him to panic and fall off the bridge. Va immediately rushes to help and manages to get him back. The other kids begin to tease him, and when he fell, he poured water from a bottle on his pants. Unable to bear the ridicule, Vikia runs away with Va chasing him and catching up near one of the rocks. Va tries to cheer up his friend. The boys look up and see that the eclipse has already started. Then, they experience strange vibrations as an earthquake begins. Some of the rock Va was standing on gives way and he falls into the chasm. Just as he is about to pull himself up, he reaches the edge of the rock but is unable to do so, yelling for help. Vikia is afraid to approach the edge. Suddenly, a hole like a portal opens up in the rock behind them, and Vikia is sucked into it. Waking up, Vikia sees the rock behind him with a hole closing. He hears a voice and slowly peers around behind a large rock to see a man wearing ancient armor, holding a bouquet of flowers and speaking to himself. All of a sudden, there are many other warriors in front of the man. He manages to fend off their attack, but just as he is about to depart, another warrior attacks him from behind. They fight with a sword, but the man is defeated and surrounded. From a distance, Vikia decides to get closer, but slips and falls down. Meanwhile, a siren begins to sound from his backpack. The megaphone has turned on. The chief of the warriors commands his warriors to take the boy, but the fallen warrior, mounted on a horse, manages to save Vikia and flee. They are soon pursued. As they approach the river, the young man asks Velis for help. A stone path suddenly emerges across the water. As soon as the rider crosses the river, the path disappears, causing the pursuing warriors to fall into the water and be dragged under. The young man took Vikia to the outpost. Ilya and the elder, OSI, who met him there, were very displeased that he had left the outpost without permission. The young man said that he had stumbled on a bleak cliff where he saw the Cumans trample flowers. He became so enraged that he defeated them all by himself. Then Cuman Kundu came, and if it wasn't for this lad who distracted them, it would have been much worse for him. One of the men who had gathered decided to bring the boy to his senses and poured a bucket of cold water on him. When Vikia came to, he initially thought it was his friend who did this, but upon looking around, he saw strange-looking people. Confused by his words, the men began to doubt if he was a scout. The elder decided that in the morning they would go to Velis to see what was going on. Until then, they decided to put the boy in a shed. Kundu went to see the shaman that night. Although the spirits had correctly pointed out where the Romans should have been, they had been unable to kill him. The boy in strange clothes had interfered. When the shaman heard about the child, he asked him if he had a dragon's head symbol. The shaman recalled that the boy indeed had that symbol on his back. The shaman was very pleased with this news. He had been expecting him. The spirits had sent their messenger who would bring them boundless power. Vikia was trying to comprehend what was going on. His thoughts were interrupted by a girl who came over and offered him some milk. He asked her where he was, but she didn't quite understand and said that he was in the shed. She also said that the outpost was named Rymov and they defended Rus from the Cumans. Vikia then asked what year it was, and she was shocked to hear that it was 1120 AD. It was hard for him to hear what they were saying. The young man who wished to thank Vikia for his help interrupted their conversation. Vikia said he urgently needed to go home, and the young man replied not to worry. He would be examined by Velis and then released. The next day, the boy was put on a raft and taken to the middle of the river. The ropes that were used to hold the log suddenly broke and the boy fell into the water. There, he saw some strange creature, and a moment later, he was forcefully thrown back onto the shore. The men brought back Vikia's things to him when he returned to the outpost. They sat around the table and introduced themselves, one by one: Ilya, Doya, Olko, and Elder Roy. They requested him to explain to them what had occurred. Vikia said that he was from another time and had been sucked into a hole in a cliff, but they didn't believe him, saying that he must have hit his head hard. In response, the boy took a megaphone out of his backpack and turned it on. The loud noise caused the crowd to scatter, but it had the desired effect and convinced the warriors of the boy's story. Elder Roy said that he would work out how to get home, and Ilya said that he could stay with his sister Melanica for now. Olko readily offered to take the boy with him. When he reached Melon's house, he gave Vikia to her. After she took the boy into the house, Lishko called her daughter, Rosanka. He was very taken with her and planned to give her a bouquet hidden behind his back. However, his plans were thwarted by a horse. While Lishko was talking to Rosanka, the animal carefully ate the flowers. Olko removed the bouquet from behind his back and was left with a tiny morsel of chewed bouquet. Offended by such a gift, Rosanka went inside. As the sun set and the flames danced, the whole family sat around the table that evening, Ilya, Dubrin, and Olisko. They started singing. Then, Vikia appeared to them. The elder reported that he visited Velis, who said that during a solar eclipse, the hole would open again. However, when this will be is unknown. The portal also could be activated by force, but only the sorcerers know how to get to them for answers, Velis said. Olisko immediately said he knew a place where there were plenty of sorcerers, but Ilya cautioned against leaving Rhyme off, as it is surrounded by Kumans. The following morning, Vikia was going to visit the outpost and take some pictures. There, he met Olko and asked him to take him to the sorcerers. Olisko said he could show him the way, but it wouldn't be of much use to get answers. One must pass the sorcerer's tests with a sword, a bow, and one's wits. Vikia then asked to try and pass all these tests. Olisko decided to start with horse riding. As Vikia was about to mount the horse, someone grabbed him from behind. Turning around, he saw the captured Cuman, Tugarin. After pulling his hand away, Vikia didn't notice that a pin fell from his coat, and Tugarin picked it up. Then the boy was allowed to shoot a bow and swing a sword, which Olisko did. Assessing his skills, Olko concluded that he wouldn't succeed. Then the teenager asked to learn everything and Olko agreed to give him the megaphone. The next day, Vikia's training began. He was taught to wield a sword, ride a horse and shoot a bow. Alenka closely observed them throughout the training. When their session was over, Olisko presented Vikia with the huge sword of Isla Morance. The teenager immediately asked himself whether Dubrin was Dubrin Nikic, as he knew that he was in the presence of three legendary heroes, Duin Nikic, Ilya Moritz, and Olko Papovich. He excitedly told Olko that back in his time, everyone knew about them and that there were legends and tales about them. With time, Vikia mastered the sword and bow and Olisko drew him a map of how to find the sorcerer. The shaman meanwhile began his black arts and cast a spell on a raven. He sent it out for reconnaissance. Vikia set out on his journey. One day he heard a rustling noise, and he thought, "Let me hide behind a tree." He peeked out with his bow in hand and saw Alenka. The girl was in the forest picking mushrooms. Vikia said that he was looking for the sorcerer, and he had to get back home. He gave her the map and asked her if she knew the location. Deciding to help Vikia, Alenka agreed to accompany him. Finally, the two friends reached the designated spot and Vikia was whisked away to another dimension. He was in the middle of a large frozen sea. A voice, which no one recognized, demanded sternly, "Who are you and what do you want?" Vikia asked for help, saying he really wanted to return home. The voice promises to give him the knowledge he needs in exchange for something. Vikia must share his darkest secrets, and if he lies, he will never get out. He admitted to an accident, fear of heights, and how this fear affected him in his inability to assist his friend. The sorcerer took his confession and explained to him about Par and Stone. The stone can go through the ages, but it is not something that any mortal can easily find. The stone should be looked for where the wingless nest is, and it will be found when the wind is subdued. One who can touch heart to heart will unleash the great power of the stone. Returning to Alenka, Vikia shared the sorcerer's words with her. She instantly remembered a village they called Estovo. They decided to head there. Upon arriving in the village, Vikia's house was built right on the lake. The people there are very kind, and they have a legend that their ancestors were once storks, Alenka said. Vikia suddenly had an idea on how to tame the wind. He made a little parachute and dropped it in the air. It is picked up by the wind and carried away, and the two run after it, until it takes them to a place in the lake where Vikia jumps in and finds the stone. The raven, which had been watching the children all this time, immediately reports this to the shaman. Suddenly, the friends hear a scream. Turning toward the noise, Alenka sees a crowd of Kumans running toward the village. Vikia and the girl hide while chaos erupts around them, with enemy warriors slaughtering all the villagers. At the watchtower, One of the guards spots smoke and realizes that the village is burning. He calls for the warriors, dividing into two groups. Nikita and DOA head one way while Lishko and the others go the other way. Almost immediately, the two heroes encounter the Kumans along with V and Alenka. The men quickly engage in battle. V sees one of the enemies sneaking up on the heroes, and seizing a bow, shoots him back at the outpost. Back at the outpost, Elderroy corrects the children for leaving without permission, but the heroes stand up for them, saying that Vikia needs to return home. They suggest going to the Grim Cliff at dawn the next day. At the Kuman camp, that night Kund is told of the failure. Angry, he goes to the shaman, who promises not to make any more mistakes and to bring him the stone the next day. The heroes, Elderroy and Vaya, go to the Grim Cliff. They insert the stone into it, but it doesn't work. There is no power in it. The Elder recommends waiting for a thunderstorm, when Perron is the lord of these elements, and maybe the stone will gain power at that time. Returning to the outpost, Vaya finds Alenka very upset. He goes to the Elder to ask for the girl's punishment to be lifted. The teen discovers blueprints for wings on the table, and finds a mistake. He immediately tells the Elder about it. The Elder tells me that he would like to make wings for the warriors so that they may drop the stone on the heads of the Kuman. Vaya offers to help. Later, the friends go for a walk. As they travel, Alenka tells a story about the stone heart. The one who discovers it will find her true love or lost love. She confesses to Vaya that she thinks he is special. Following the walk, Vaya goes back to the Elder's workshop and assists with the blueprints for a glider. Then, Ol Isco comes in and tells them that Ilya is calling them right now. They encounter the hero, and discover that the Kumans had attacked Avo on purpose, in search of the boy with the stone. The Elder realizes that the artifact is in danger, and proposes that the stone be hidden somewhere. When they return to the workshop, the Elder decides to hide the stone again, but it's gone. After searching the entire room, he and Vaya go outside and see Melanica cracking nuts, taking the magical item from her. Elder Roy recommends moving it to the top of the watchtower. When asked by the Elder how tall the structure is, Vaya refuses to climb, but the Elder convinces him and they both climb to the very top. Overcoming his fear, Vaya even risks approaching the edge to look at the surrounding landscape. After some time, the long-awaited thunderstorm starts. While talking to Alenka, Vaya notices that a large hailstorm has started. Feeling sorry for the prisoner, he covers the prison with a canopy. That night, lightning strikes the top of the observation tower, and some stones drop to the bottom of the prison where the prisoner is imprisoned. Karen manages to get away and goes back to his brother Kund, but Kund is not very happy to see him and tells his servants to get the man out of his tent. Kicking Tugarin's belongings with anger, he says that the gods have turned away from him again. However, the shaman sees a fallen stone brought by Kund's brother in the morning, which was brought from Perrin. Grandpa Roy finds the missing stone at the outpost, and Tugarin has escaped with the stone. Ol Isco recommends that you go into their camp at night and take it away. The Elder agrees, and they must complete the hang glider as soon as possible. The boy and the man immediately begin their work. It's nearly done, it just needs a black paint. In the Cyan camp, the Khan demands the promised power from the shaman, but the shaman says that the stone has no power and only the one who found it can breathe power into it. The next day, Grandpa Roy and Alenka go out to get dirt for the warriors. The man allows the girl to enter the woods, and she proposes to take some berries with her to give to Vaya on the trip. The girl is attacked by several poings when she is away from the Elder. They knock her out and throw her on a horse and are about to leave, but Grandpa Roy intervenes. They are able to inflict serious injuries on him after a fight and flee with the girl. The man is discovered and taken to the outpost by evening. He tells the heroes that Alenka has been kidnapped. After promising to rescue the girl, Grandpa Roy dies. The girl is taken to the Khan while the boy is taken to the Khan's palace. He gets angry and slaps the servant and commands him to bring the boy. In the outpost, Vaya, in Grandpa's workshop, is grieving the loss of the deceased. Then he suddenly notices a raven perched on the window, holding a piece of paper in its talons. He realizes it's a message from the girl. Quickly gathering his things, the boy sets off after the bird to save his friend. When he arrives at the Cyan camp, he finds the girl and tells her that Grandpa Roy has passed away. The shaman is separated again, and gives Vaya the stone so he can empower it. The boy agrees, but wants his backpack back. He uses fireworks and smoke bombs to wreak havoc in the camp and attempts to flee with the girl. But the Khan is not deceived by the show and halts the children, tying up the boy. He gives him one last chance, or Alenka will die. Vaya agrees but insists that they won't be murdered. Taking the stone in his hands, the boy suddenly realizes what needs to be done. They give it to their friend, who imparts power to it, and they give it to the Khan to keep their word. The Khan calls Tugger in and orders him to kill the children using the parent stone. The shaman starts to cast a spell. He makes a giant from the boulders and mountains around him. The teens are on the verge of being executed at this time. Karen is about to chop the boy's head off, but he recalls how Vaya protected him from the hail. He suddenly regrets his decision and slays Khan's soldiers instead, saving the children. He gives them an opportunity to get away. Andok is furious with his brother's actions and slays Tugger. As they travel to the outpost, the friends meet heroes traveling to save them. They go back to the outpost together and tell the others about the terrible beast the shaman conjured up. Eventually, the sentry on the tower detects a Scion horde coming and alerts the rest of the sentinels. A massive army is advancing, and with them is the stone golem created by the shaman. Not knowing how to fight it, the defenders try various weapons, but nothing works. The heroes order the women and children to seek shelter. Oko comes up with an idea. He mounts a horse and charges at the golem. His antics enrage the creature, and he is able to draw it into the water, where it is rescued by Velis. Not knowing if Oko survived, Runkar runs to the riverbank and calls for him. As the heroes are coming up from behind, they tell her that he is dead, but at that very moment the boy comes out of the water. The girl runs to him, hugs him, and declares her affection. One day, Adia realizes that a solar eclipse has started. Saying goodbye to Rosanka, the boy heads to the cliff. Meanwhile, the Scion attack breaches the fortification and starts a battle. The warriors hold their own against the enemy, even though they are outnumbered, and push the enemy out of the outpost. However, their victory is short-lived. The shaman has succeeded in resurrecting the golem. At this moment, Vikia returns to Ramoth with an idea on how to stop the shaman. Climbing to the top of the observation tower, the boy puts on the hang glider. On the edge, he conquers his fear and takes a step into the unknown. He dives down with the stone and stabilizes the glider and flies to the shaman. After knocking the stone from the shaman's hands, Adia makes a rough landing on the rocks, but Andok is waiting for him there, demanding the artifact. The KH is instead met with the boy throwing it into the water. The magic of the stone is lost and the golem collapses. Seeking revenge, the KH attacks Adia, but Oko comes to his aid. Oko manages to throw the Scion off the cliff after a short fight. The boy realizes that he has very little time and urgently requests to be taken to the gloomy rock. Reaching the spot, Vikia says goodbye to the hero. As he is about to leave, he hears Elena's cry. She has come to say goodbye. Understanding they will probably never see each other again, she kisses him. Adia steps on and slips through the portal. Returning to the present time, Adia sees his friend Va hanging on the edge of a cliff. Rushing to him, the boy grabs his hand and pulls him to safety. Va is upset, saying that he thought his hand had fallen off and that Adia was scared. Adia acknowledges that he was scared at first, then he fell into the portal, encountered trials in the swamps, met some heroes, fought with the Poing, had to deal with a magical stone and a golem. As Vitcher recounts his adventure, VOA's eyes widen more and more. Meanwhile, as the whole class watches the rescue, they applaud, impressed by V's bravery. A year later, V's mother gives him an old book. As he delves into its pages, he uncovers a mysterious legend about the Stone Heart, a relic said to hold great power. Vaya embarks on a quest to find this legendary artifact. After a long and arduous journey, he finally locates the Stone Heart. He touches it and whispers a girl's name and a magical connection is made. At the same time, 1,000 years ago, Alenka finds the same stone. When she reaches out to touch it, something happens that's beyond human understanding. A connection is made across the centuries. Vikia and Alenka have a bond. Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Leave a comment about your favorite movie, and we will make it next. Thanks for watching.